This is me at the Tar Prom in Siem Reap at the Temples of Angkor in Cambodia in 2007. This is Lara Croft, Angelina Jolie, approaching the exact same door in the film Tomb Raider. And it was this exact film and this exact moment that inspired me to go and teach English in Cambodia in 2007. So if you'd have told this little girl right here, me, how influential Lara Croft would have been for my travels and my life, I would have said, get out of town. Here we are back at the Bayon in 2008 and later in Egypt in 2008 at the Great Pyramids of Giza, not to mention me trying to pet a camel. Anyway, we're over to the States now, but if that wasn't enough, we've also been to Rome, and my dog is barking in absolute excitement for my travels because she honestly believes, like me, that Lara Croft has been incredibly influential, to the point where in October 2023 I got to interview the voice actress of Lara Croft in the Tomb Raider 2 games and Tomb Raider 3. Boy, what a ride it has been. So yes, I did indeed venture off to Cambodia, having been mesmerised by the Tomb Raider film, and of course growing up with Tomb Raider 1 especially, it just resonates with me so much. Now I've said this before, being a young girl in the 90s, when it wasn't cool to like video games, it was the likes of Lara Croft who exploded onto the scene literally as a global phenomenon and made it okay for younger girls like me back in the 90s to start to admit that, hey, I actually like video games, and to not actually be bullied about it. Of course, it's much more acceptable, and so it should be for young girls to like video games today, but back in the 90s, for me, it was a little bit of a taboo thing. So Lara Croft really helped my gamer coming out story, if you would, to be kind of in school and to be able to talk about video games and for that to be socially acceptable. And of course, in my early 20s, swanning off to Cambodia to teach English, having been again mesmerised by that kind of Temples of Angkor in Cambodia in Siem Reap, of course tombs synonymous with Tomb Raider, and being able to stand in the place where like Lara Croft picked the jasmine, it really did help shape me and I love it. And of course we're here today to talk about Tomb Raider Remastered, which is a remastering of Tomb Raider 1, 2 and 3. It is a game that I don't think, or rather games that nobody asked for. Nobody said, oh, I wish we could have a remaster. I certainly didn't. Apologies if you did. And of course, on Friday, I started streaming Tomb Raider. Now, I can't speak for Tomb Raider 2 and 3, but that remastered. But I did get a chance to interview Judith Gibbons back in October. She, of course, was the voice actress for Lara Croft in Tomb Raider 2 and Tomb Raider 3, and I asked her to say one of her favourite lines, and she said this in her best Lara Croft voice.
The first one is, are there any parts of either script that really stick out? And the second part is, can you give us your best Lara Croft line from But there's more. There's more.
Well, I always say this line because it was my audition line.
Go, and then I'm going to repeat it, and you can judge me how bad my Lara Croft impression is. Go for it.
Pardon me, if that was just your way of trying the doors for me.
So I thought to myself, I'm going to try and mimic that. And what better judge of my character, of my Lara Croft voice, than of course Lara herself. Here was my weak effort.
Pardon me, if that was just your way of trying the doors for me.
Who knows what the next time is?
Having a laugh on stage with Judith, of course, was a crowning moment for me here as a gamer girl, as a YouTuber, as a content creator, and as a huge fan. So as much as I absolutely adore Tomb Raider, because it's the first one, it was a crowning game for Lara, it's a crowning game for many people to kind of help shape their gaming credentials. Tomb Raider 2 and 3 has, of course, a massive nostalgic vibe for me. It was that trilogy that I feel the most fit in with 96, 97 and 98, core years for me and my gaming, and of course still being in school, such rich memories of that Tomb Raider trilogy, and to be able to get to play it again now on the PS5 with the enhanced visuals, which we're going to talk about, is an absolute blessing. So how am I feeling with Tomb Raider Remastered? Well, again, I can't speak for 2 and 3, but Tomb Raider is a wonderful experience. I will give you a pro tip. Switching between the modern graphics and the old graphics really does shine a lot of light, if you would, on certain aspects of the level, because I'm finding that the modern graphics, whilst they look great, can be very dark in areas. So switching to the old graphics lights up and illuminates areas, giving you that vantage point to be able to see secrets, med packs, etc, etc. So I find that quite an interesting distinction. Not so much in terms of the draw distance though, as we were in the Colosseum level last night, and when you switch to the old graphics, the draw distance is absolutely shocking, as it was on the first game, and of course that draw distance and everything just opens up so beautifully with modern graphics. So that's also really nice. So I think for me, I found that there are advantages as well as disadvantages of switching between the two graphics modes if you're going to be playing that on your modern consoles here in 2024 and beyond. Now let's talk controls. Notoriously back in the day, games like Resident Evil and of course Tomb Raider had what we called tank controls, which is a very wooden way of move. You get the idea. Nobody moves like that in real life. Think about the fluidity of a gymnast and Lara Croft being so kind of agile. Moving like this, it just doesn't cut the mustard. But I'll say this, my muscle memory slotted straight back into those tank controls on the PlayStation 5, and I have thus far been playing using the tank controls only. Switching to modern gives things a little bit more of a jank. You don't have the beauty of being able to approach a ledge and have it absolutely pitch perfect before you jump back to then take your jump. So it is going to take a lot of getting used to. And especially if you grew up with Lara and you have, you know, decades of this tank control muscle memory, I think it's going to be very hard for you to go back and use modern controls and get enjoyment from this game. So I will say that for me, tank controls are a much better approach. Now, somebody put this comment in my chat and kindly gave us a tip on how to remap the modern controls to give it that little bit more of a tank control flair. Whilst I think that is great, what is the point of remapping modern controls to fit more of a tank control system? Why not just use the tank control system? So I'm going to stick with tank controls as I finish my campaign over on my Twitch, so please give us a follow if you want to see me complete that. I'm going to use the tank controls, and then again in Tomb Raider 2 and Tomb Raider 3 we're going to just carry on using the tank controls to get that maximum enjoyment from Lara right here in 2024. What was also interesting to me was going into this, I did not expect to get as much enjoyment as I was anticipating. Having seen the reviews scoring around a 6 to a 7 out of 10 and people just completely complaining about it, I thought, okay, maybe this is a cash grab, maybe this is just, you know, it is what it is. But I think people are looking at that through the wrong lens. This is the Tomb Raider trilogy. Back in 96, 97 and 98, this was a technical feat. This was incredible. And I think don't change what wasn't broken. And that is the beauty of these games. It stays true to the original without changing too much that it becomes a completely novel and shocking experience. I think people need to judge that, review it based on that. Based on those 96, 97 and 1998 years, Remastered is an incredible game without reinventing the wheel. I think people wanted brand new experiences and for the sound to be completely different. It's phenomenal, it's nostalgic, and it oozes nostalgia. So if you, like me, have been influenced by Lara Croft and or just Tomb Raider in general, whether it's movies or comics or whatever it is, you're really going to get a lot of bang for your buck with this. And at $24.99 for the digital release on PlayStation, I think it's $26.99 on Switch, I think you're going to get lots of enjoyment from this one. Now, of course, I can't speak, I've never played it on the Switch, but I think Digital Foundry will probably shed a lot of light on what Tomb Raider looks and feels like and sounds like between the different consoles. Of course, we're waiting for a brand new Tomb Raider game. Now, there was an article released, it was all over Twitter this week, about what the new remodeling of Lara Croft looks like. A lot of simps on Twitter think that they own Lara and this is a disaster and they don't like it. I think it looks bloody brilliant. Again, it doesn't reinvent the wheel. We've got the classic outfit, we've got the classic look, and I am extremely excited to see what the devs are going to drop in regards to the new Tomb Raider. I'm not a huge fan of Embracer Group, who now own Tomb Raider as a kind of IP. They've had a lot of layoffs recently, and there's lots of issues with them over in the kind of political side of video games, just making people redundant to try and maximise their profit margins. I think that's a load of shit, and you should be kinder to developers that are putting out these games for the likes of us to perpetuate this billion-dollar industry, but I digress. I'm excited to see what is coming from the Tomb Raider franchise, and I will be here just as much as you will, because you are watching this video because you're a Tomb Raider fan. Tomb Raider 28 will be held in Derby. It is an unofficial fan huge gathering that tends to take place in October. It started a few years ago. I was there for the first. I was there last year on stage interviewing Judith, and I'll be there again this year. So I'll also link the TR28 details in the description if you want to buy a ticket to come and see us and to see different people, developers, voice actors, voice actresses that have been involved with the Tomb Raider franchise. I don't know. I've got a hint of what's going to be there this year, but I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. Hopefully I'll be on stage interviewing again. So if you want to meet me again, I'll be at the Tomb Raider 28 event in Derby this year. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm really pumped to see what is coming up. So Lara Croft means many things to me. She's helped me and influenced me to travel the world. She's helped me and influenced me to be a safe gamer and not to be bullied back in the 90s in school, when it was okay to be a girl and like video games and have these flamboyant adventures in your life. And of course, I'm still playing Tomb Raider on twitch.tv/thegebs24 today with you. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that subscribe button, and if you are a Lara Croft fan, I want to hear from you in the comment section. But for now, take care. My name is Gemma, and I will see you in the next episode. Cheers. I need a few seconds of your time to tell you about channel memberships. If you guys want to become a channel member, click join from the main page or the second link in the description. There are 3 tiers, all with different perks for you if you want to become a team member. Thanks for your time. Let's continue with the video.